Hey guys, and welcome to Gwent, the Witcher card game. My name is Jaggerus, and today I have another budget ranked deck for you. And that is a variation on monsters. If you're bored of playing Weather, don't worry, we're going to be consuming with our Hungry Monsters Get Naked deck. And you guys might complain that this deck is not that budget, but I'm going to kind of give my reasoning behind the legendaries that I have, and also talk about, why these are ones that you want to get anyway, if that makes sense. So, like, if you have scrap and you're like, oh, I want to craft a legendary, these are the ones you should be crafting because they fit in literally every deck and help to get your gold collection up, which is definitely something worth doing. So, in terms of gold cards and legendaries, we have Igni. Igni is, in my opinion, the first legendary you should craft. If you're going to craft a legendary, go for Igni, because it's a neutral card, which means you can play it in any deck. And it's useful against more or less any deck, because very, very often your opponent will have a row that adds up to 20 strength. When they do, you plop down Igni, you gain 4 strength, and it destroys the strongest non-god unit on the opposite row if it totals 20 or more. And you can get a lot of value out of this card. And it's just slots nicely into decks. It's kind of like, Geralt, how you start with Geralt or whatever his name is. You put him in all of your decks to begin with. Igni is one of those cards you can put in all of your decks. Then we have Ciri. Ciri is not legendary. She's a epic. You get her for free at level 18. So once you hit level 18, you get Ciri. And again, it's a nice card to run in this deck. So this is something that you can play, and then if you lose, you get it back. So you can actually use this to try and gain yourself significant card advantage, which I'll try and show you guys as we play games. Then we have Caretaker. Caretaker is a monster-specific legendary, and I think if you play a lot of monsters, this is one of the cards that you should be looking to craft, like if you're kind of like a monsters main, because Caretaker is just generally good. You resurrect a non-gold, non-permadeath unit from the opposing graveyard. So you can get really interesting things, If you de-goldify one of their cards with like Team Shackles to make it a silver, you can then resurrect it with Caretaker. You can resurrect stuff like the Skellige resurrection units. You can resurrect silver cards, which are usually quite beneficial as well. There's lots of kind of options for how this is useful. So it's just generally a card that is nice to have. But if you don't have it, that's fine. You can run, Geralt and stuff. Yennefer, another gold card I think everyone should craft kind of early on. She is an epic, and at the start of your turn, she removes 1 strength from the strongest opposing non-gold unit. If your opponent can't remove Yennefer, it basically means that they don't want the round to drag out. So this is kind of one of the ways in which you can often win a round just by playing a card, because people just don't want to deal with it. So they're just like, well, you have this round, and I'll just go from there. So again, another gold card that's definitely worth, crafting. And if you don't have these, like I say, you can run Geralts. You could always run an extra Vran Warrior or an extra Arrakis Behemoth to flesh out your deck. You could run the Manticore, for example. Like there's definitely options to run in this deck if you don't have these cards. But these are kind of the cards that you can build towards, which is what I'm trying to showcase here. Decoy you get at level 20 for free, and again, it's one of these silver cards you can put in lots of deck. You return a non-gold, non-relentless unit on your side to your hand. Add 3 to its base strength and play it again. So you can use this to replay, any of the cards that you have out. At the moment, I like it because I can use it to replay Nekkers Warrior, and then I can duplicate my Nekkers some more, which we'll talk about in a second. But the thing is with Decoy is, like, if your opponent plays a spying unit, you can decoy the spying unit. If your opponent plays like a cow carcass from a rot tosser, you can decoy it and throw it back onto their side. If they play the whale dude from Skellige, the spectral whale, you can throw the spectral whale back to their side. It's just kind of a useful card to have in a lot of situations. So I quite like it as a silver card, and it's again one of the ones that you can kind of slot into any deck. Okay, then we also have King of Beggars. King of Beggars, I've put this in this deck. This is a card, if you have it, put it in the deck, along with Grave Hag. Because these are both legendaries, and basically you can use King of Beggars to target draw the Grave Hag. But if you don't have these cards, fear not. There's plenty of other silvers you can run in the deck. Commander's Horn is nice. Prize-winning Cow fits in lots of decks as well. Similarly, Cleaver, he's a blue, and, he stops a card's effect from triggering, so you could use that with a Team Shackles to stop Yennefer. Like, there's lots of kind of options for this deck should you not have these legendary cards. But I wanted to show you guys at least the kind of options. Similarly, Katakan, you can use that to absorb, a unit from their graveyard. It's pretty good. And I mean, other gold cards you could run. You could always run Woodland Spirit. We don't have anything in the middle row really, so the fog, we're not really benefiting from the fog, but we're not really, being affected by it. Just don't run it on the same turn as you run Grave Hag. Okay, so let me get on to the point of the deck now. So these are just kind of where you can take the deck in the future as you build up your collection, because I always get asked this anyway. So we have 3 Nekkers, and the whole point of this deck is on the first hand you want to find a Nekker. You want to play out your Nekker, and if the Nekker is removed, you play a Nekker immediately from your deck, right? So you're like, well, why do we only have 3 Nekkers? So, you know, that's not that useful. But with Nekker Warrior, we can then create copies of the Nekkers at the bottom of our deck, which means that whenever a Nekker gets removed, another Nekker gets played. And these Nekkers get buffed when units absorb strength. Cue Vran Warrior. Vran Warrior, every 2 turns at the end of the turn, he destroys the weakest non-gold unit on the row, except self, and absorbs strength. So then you can use the Nekker Warrior to absorb Nekkers, drawing more Nekkers and buffing all of your Nekkers. Like, we are getting proper Nekked in here, guys. It is Nekker time. And Nekkers are breedable, which means they work with Monster's Nest. You can use that to spawn 3 copies of a breedable unit on your side of the battlefield. So then you can start, you know, copying up your Nekkers, and then when they all die, you know, you draw 4 more out of your graveyard because you've duplicated them. Similarly, you can use Decoy here. And then, as Vran is consuming all these Nekkers, you could have your Arrakis Behemoth in the back row, which spawns an Arrakis whenever a monster unit on your side absorbs strength. So this then spawns a 3 strength unit in the middle row. So you can see this is kind of complicated, but it can be really effective. And then, you know, you've got all of these Arrakis and Nekkers in your graveyard, and then on round 3, you have Grave Hag, and if you don't have Grave Hag, you can target draw Grave Hag with King of Beggars, because you play the weakest unit, which is this one. After 1 turn, banish all non-gold units in your graveyard and absorb 1 strength for each. So then he's absorbing strength, which if you have any Nekkers remaining on the battlefield get buffed. And he's getting lots of strength because you should have lots of small breedable units in your graveyard to absorb. So that's why we run Grave Hag. Saying that, I've played this deck on ranked without Grave Hag. I've played it without Caretaker. It's just generally, it's a fun deck to play, and it is definitely successful. And it's a nice kind of direction to take monsters in if you're bored of weather. And I've hopefully given you guys enough alternatives that you don't feel too bad with the number of legendaries in this deck. Then we have Old Spear Tip. This is like such a good card, such a good blue card. So you play him and he adds 1 strength to all non-gold units on the row. So all your Nekkers get buffed on the row, and maybe the Vran, for example. Then if there's 3 or more units on the opposite row at the end of the turn, he transforms into Old Spear Tip Awake, which is an 8 strength, which then removes 2 strength from all non-gold units on the opposite row. And the thing is, if that row then goes down to fewer than 3 units, he transforms back into Old Spear Tip and buffs all your units. So you can actually transform this guy multiple times, and he's just a really strong card in more or less any monster deck, and I highly recommend getting your hands on this. In terms of our special cards, we have Decoy, I've mentioned. Dimeritium Bomb and Scorch I run in more or less every deck. They're just generally useful silver cards. Fit lots of situations. Alza's Thunder is good for target removal, and Dimeritium Shackles is because usually there's 1 or 2 problematic cards, so I want the Dimeritium effect twice. This targets a row, this targets a specific unit. But more or less that's it with the deck. Oh, the last thing I have to mention is Dagon. I really like Dagon because he gives you weather, so you can trick your opponent into thinking you're playing weather when you're not, which means they might mulligan for anti-weather cards. If they have a very strong or problematic row, specifically the siege row or the ranged row, you can spawn, you know, fog or rain to win you the round. And if you go up against weather, you can target draw a first light with this. So then you don't really have to run them in your deck. So that's why I like to run Dagon. You can run this deck with Errigan or Gales, but I like Dagon for those reasons. Anyway, let's jump into a game, and I'll show you guys how this deck works.
Patience is not a virtue I am known to have.
Okay, so we are up against Emir van Emrys and Nilfgaard. What this means is that stuff like Decoy could be quite useful, because they're inevitably going to play Rot Tossers. We have Grave Hag, so we don't actually need King of Beggars. At the moment, King of Beggars is just going to give us a Nekker. We kind of play both of these to increase the chance that we can play this card. So we'll just mulligan King of Beggars. We got Ciri, which is nice. We'll mulligan one of the Elsa's Thunder. And we got Decoy, which is really nice. We have Nekker Warrior, we have Nekker, we have Monster's Nest. I mean, we could mulligan the Shackles, to be honest, and try and find a second Nekker Warrior. And I think I'm going to do that. We were gonna go for the second Warrior, but we actually got double Monster's Nest, which is good fun. Our turn. Okay, so this deck, typically you want to open with a Nekker, which is nice. You know, if it gets removed, you pull another one out your deck, so that's kind of fine. And then a Nekker Warrior on the Nekker to put more in the deck. Interestingly, he played a Rally there. And what that tells me is that he's feeling confident this is not weather. But what it also means is that he mulliganed for first light. So we tricked him into holding on to first lights when typically you would mulligan them by playing Dagon. We're then going to duplicate our Nekkers here, which is a nice play. He's got 11 strength on the board. That is a thing. We're not looking to play particularly heavy this round, in all honesty. He's also got D-Bomb. D-Bomb is a little bit of a pain in the ass for us, but it's not the end of the world. And now I'm going to play Ciri. I don't intend to win this round, but if I play Ciri this round, he thinks I still want to keep playing, which means he's more likely to keep playing cards. And there, see, he played a spotter. In actual fact, we had no intention of winning this round, so now we pass, and we get Ciri back. So then we have card advantage, because we got a second card out of him. And that was kind of the trick with Ciri. That's what you kind of want to do with her, is you play her on a round you intend to lose. And people fall for it all the time. They think you're still going for the round, but then sometimes you can use it when you do intend to win the round. So we drew a Nekker out of our deck, which means we have 3 Nekkers left in the deck. There's Shackles, and there is Beggar, King of Beggars. King of Beggars is not the most useful draw because we have Grave Hag in hand. But most of the time I feel like I don't find Grave Hag, so then King of Beggars is good. But you can see, like, you don't necessarily need both.
There's been a mistake.
He has to open. He knows we have Monster's Nest, and he knows we have Vran Warrior. We're going to just Monster's Nest now. And in doing that, we've basically... We've duplicated out our Nekkers. There's the Rot Tosser, which is very predictable. We can throw the Rot Tosser back at him, but in all honesty, actually, what I'm going to do for now is Alza's Thunder, because the decoy we could always use on the Nekker Warrior, should we want to. So we'll just get rid of that, basically. I actually should have played Yennefer this turn to open, rather than Monster's Nest, because she would have been more useful the more turns that go on. So maybe we play her now, or we could hold off and, you know, play her on a later turn. The question is, we have to try and decide how badly does our opponent want to win this round. And I don't think he wants to win it that badly, in all honesty. So then I think, like, Yennefer is definitely an option for later on. Like, I think, like, when you're playing like this, you're not necessarily wanting to win. You know, we have Dimir Shackle should we want to reset him. So we can always do that, which is nice. I think what we'll do is just go for it, right? We're just going to Shackles this guy and debuff him. And basically make it so that our opponent thinks that he should pass. He doesn't have anything, like, much in one row to toot. You know, we haven't been buffing units, so then Dimeritium Bomb is not that useful. So I think we can probably bully him into passing. Especially as he's already at card disadvantage. So he just tooted my row, which is strange. That means he's gonna want to remove something. He's planning on Igni, I guess, and then D-Bomb, so then he can remove the Nekker Warrior. I'm not hugely worried about this strategy. I don't think he's gonna Rot Tosser, and we're protected. So what I'm gonna do is decoy the Nekker Warrior, play him back out, and duplicate the Nekkers. Don't really know what his strategy is with that. Like, why would you buff your opponent? So we can see Ciri, King of Beggars, and Yennefer. I'm not remotely fussed about that. So we've duplicated some more Nekkers, which means we should have enough in our deck that when all of these 4 Nekkers die, we'll draw out 4 more. And then on the next round, we can Monster's Nest. Honestly, like, I can't pass, because if I pass, like, he'll just play enough points to win. But I think he should pass. I really don't understand what his strategy is here. Like, why would you buff me? Unless you wanted to Igni, but you, like, the thing is the Nekkers are protected by the Nekker Warrior. Oh, it's my turn. Play Ciri. I didn't realize it was my turn. Oh, he played his Van Emrys ability. I was like, he hasn't played anything. So yeah, not entirely certain what his strategy is. We can just play Yennefer on the next turn. It's not really too much of a problem. I could play my Weather now. That's an option. And just, like, remove the spotter. At the moment, what do we keep? We keep the Nekker Warrior at the moment. But I don't want to Frost. I can't Frost the front row. We could Fog. I think we're just going to stall. Maybe if we rally, we'll not keep the Nekker Warrior. But we might get a Behemoth. No, I think we hold off on that. Let's play King of Beggars for now. It'll draw us another Nekker, which isn't ideal, but it's not terrible either. It also means, like, we're in an alright position. I don't really know what his strategy was. Like, why did he toot me? He just scorched himself. I don't understand how you intend to win. I want to pass, honestly, but is he going to catch 30 however many points in that many cards? I don't think so, but then maybe he has Tibor. Tibor's... Well, if I pass, Tibor's only worth 7. Oh, I've got no idea. Right, we want to play the Vran Warrior and stuff on the next turn. And Monster's Nest on the next turn. So let's just play Yennefer. She would have been better to play early on, but honestly, I have absolutely no idea what my opponent is doing here. Ard. See, maybe he was hoping that I would play my Weather so that his Ard would be useful. I'm passing. I'm sorry, there's no way he's getting that many points in 1 card, 2 cards. He's got D-Bomb, which is worth a bit, but I'm not convinced he can win. Can he win? Nah, he can't win. I've got too many units! Oh, feels good. He'll gain 2 points from the bomb. Wow. I guess that was his strategy, was to try and force me to pass. He was trying to convince me to pass. That was his strategy. So that he could then freeze all my units. Oh, that's such a strange strategy. Well, we won. We didn't get to quite do what we wanted to do. Let's jump into another game, and we'll go from there.
Close ranks!
Okay, so we got full test here. Hopefully this will be a little bit more sensible. We've got a Nekker, which is nice. We've got a Vran Warrior and an Arrakis, Igni, Yennefer, and Caretaker. But we want to try and find our Vran Warriors, right? That's kind of important. Alzur's Thunder is not as useful against full test because he can resurrect a lot of units. But I think for now we'll mulligan the Vran Warrior. We'll mulligan the Demurtium Shackles. We'll mulligan the Nekker. And there's what we wanted. We can hold off on the Arrakis until we find a Vran Warrior, but, you know, maybe we should have kept the Vran Warrior over the Arrakis. It's kind of personal preference here. We are going to open with a Nekker. Look at that. And Caretaker's nice because we can always, you know, kidnap something that he plays, and we can make it a silver with the Dimmertium Bomb, provided it's not permadeath.
Nice you've got here.
That's a kind of a nice option. And then we will duplicate our Nekkers like so. This is where, like, Ciri is nice, but we don't have her. Scorch would also be nice. Or Igni. I guess we could probably Igni. I think an Igni for 27 plus his base 4, that's a 31 Igni. And this is why I was saying, like, you should craft Igni. Because he's just useful. It's a useful card. What is that? Dandelion. Add 2 strength to each non-gold unit played on your side. Interesting. We're going to pass. If he wants the round, you know, he's got to play more cards. This is the thing. And if we pass here, we'll keep Nekker Warrior, and then it means if we draw Decoy, we can always decoy the Nekker Warrior, which is a nice option. So we could kind of look into doing that. And as you can see, we have won the round. Hooray. Okay, so we've duplicated Nekkers, and then we've drawn another one. So we had 4 in our deck. We've currently got 3 Nekkers in our deck. So it's good to kind of be aware of that. We didn't get Vran Warrior, which is a shame, but we can always look to draw him next turn. This turn, we'll open with Yennefer, because it forces him to deal with it, and then we'll duplicate our Nekkers, and then we'll probably Monster's Nest them, because this is a nice play. And you can see Yennefer then starts zapping the strongest unit. So we then duplicate these, which means we have 5 in the deck, which means if the 4 that we have out die, you know, we'll get more, which is what we want to see. He's played Vernon. Vernon is just going to kill Yennefer. That's kind of a standard affair. I'm not too bothered by that. So we can then Monster's Nest the Nekkers. And it means on the next turn we'll then have lots of Nekkers. Although actually, at this point, you know, we are ahead. We could try and win on this round. But maybe not. He's got 24 points at the moment. I'm just trying to decide what I want to do. If we Frost, actually, we'll do pretty nicely. Let's play Frost for now. And then, if he can clear it, then we'll pass. Oh shit! I'm an idiot! Oh, I forgot that it hits me too. The misplays are real. The misplays are real. We're gonna pass, you guys. Pretend like that didn't happen. Oh, I was like, oh, I'll Frost him, and not thinking it would Frost myself. Don't forget that. That's something that you don't play Frost. It's not a sensible thing to do. Oh, that was a dumb play. I can't believe he played another card. He Adrenaline Rush. The thing is, you have to play it on turn 2, otherwise it's useless on turn 3. But it does mean we have card advantage. And loads of Nekkers. It's kind of weird that they get debuffed and then rebuffed. What's in his graveyard? Dandelion.
I told you so, you idiot.
Does not affect spawned units. We didn't get Vran, which means we can't start consuming units, which is very annoying. We could take Dandelion out his graveyard. How much is it going to be worth? We're only going to play 2 units, so it's not really worth that much. Like, it's only going to be worth these 2 plus 2, so 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's try and bait out some removal. People don't like Araka's Behemoth because they expect you to start consuming units, which would have happened if we kept the Vran. And this goes to show we should have kept the Vran,
Onward!
right?
Attack!
We can debomb this row, so I'm not too bothered by it. In fact, let's do that now. And, because the thing is, we have Shackles, so if he does get another particularly buffed unit, it's not really a problem. Maybe we should have taken Dandelion. What else is in here?
Salutations.
Some 5 strengths, some 7 strengths. Or just zap one of these. Maybe we should have taken Dandelion, because I thought like we'd get something better than 6 in the graveyard.
Yes, sir.
Move to a random row on the same side at the start of your turn. Add 1 strength to all other non-gold units on the row. Okay, we're kidnapping him. He's getting kidnapped, you guys. Put him in the graveyard, and then we'll pull him back out on our side.
But we're broke as shit peddlers.
Oh, you broke as shit peddlers, are you? That's a shame. Everybody's gonna buff. Probably the 8. I don't know why people like to buff 1 unit lots. They shouldn't. And he was sensible. Because it's susceptible. Right, where is our good friend Odrin?
What?
In you go, Odrin.
Huh? Who are you?
Although he's gonna move to a random row, so I probably shouldn't have put him on that row.
Last.
This guy's just buffing. I think we de-bombed too soon, you guys. It's not really a big deal. Oh, he's gonna buff this row. And then we'll Shackles. And he's down to 35, and he's like, oh, it's fine. That 1 card can't have too much strength, right? 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 Here it is. Right. So then all of those Nekkers that we put into our graveyard are now going to get absorbed. We soak them all up. Num 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 num. We absorb strength, which spawns us an Arakas. It buffs all of our Nekkers. We didn't actually have that many cards in our graveyard in the end. We only got 7. I've had up to like 12 or 15 from a Grave Hag, so usually more useful. But the reason they're usually more useful is because you then have the Vran Warrior consuming things and putting them in your graveyard. But we won, so we'll send out our GG. And that's kind of the Consume Monster strategy, you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you like this deck, do hit that like button. Beyond that, you know, let me know what you want to see next week. If you have any suggestions, or you can call me out on my misplays other than frosting myself. Again, in the comments. Oh gosh, that's so embarrassing. Beyond that, you can catch me live streaming Gwent at twitch.tv/Jaggerus. You've got me on Twitter at Jaggerus, and I'll have a link to my Discord in the description if you want to find me on there. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day. And oh, there'll be a bonus Gwent video tomorrow. So Friday, you're getting an extra Gwent video. Normally, it's only Tuesdays and Thursdays, but you lucky so-and-sos are getting a bonus video. So keep an eye out for that. Have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. And if you've liked this video, hit that like button. Bye.